Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Country Music Television airs a star-studded tribute to the late Charley Pride tonight. I spoke with the country legend in 2018 about his fascinating career, from his early days playing baseball to becoming the Jackie Robinson of country music with hits like Kissin' Angel Good Morning.
Mr. Pride, it's an honor. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much.
A lot of our listeners, they obviously know your music over the decades, but they might not know your baseball ties. I know you're a partial owner of the Rangers now, but take us back. Tell our listeners who might not be familiar with your baseball roots of began a nice little ball career there.
No, I came out of Mississippi, out of Sledge, playing with the Memphis Red Sox, and I ended up. My mother signed for me with the Yankees in 19. I was a teenager, signed, and they sent me to Rio Vista, California. And that game was up and down with me. I got a chance to get looked at in 1961 by the Los Angeles Angels. My most of my experience was spent. I was just playing behind in the old Negro League, Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks, and Willie Mays. I was just behind them about a year or so, because I played with Memphis Red Sox, and I went up and played in the Iowa State. Iowa State was the semi-pro type thing. Al.B. Pearson and different ones. It was a good team up there, but what I did, I tried to work and make the Memphis Red Sox team that year, and I didn't make it. So a guy put together a black team to go up in a guy by the name of Jim Ford to play up in Iowa. And I played in the Wall Lake, Iowa, which was Andy Williams' home.
Wow.
Had all black team up there, and we got up there, but we didn't. We were playing on percentages, and I about starved up there. Somebody pull up weeds, and we'd eat the bottom of them sometime. But I don't want to remember that anymore. I like to forget about all that. But what had happened? They came. We didn't win nothing. It would rain buckets, you see, and then we didn't have no money. So anyway, it was a popcorn king up there took over the team, and he started giving us money to eat on. But what happened is that we didn't win nothing once we started playing, and so the guys went back to the Memphis Red Sox and they raided the whole pitching staff. So that's when I went back and I got me a job, and I was there for good. So that happened there. So I played up and down. But like I say, during that particular time, my mother signed a contract for me to go out to Rio Vista, California with the Yankees, and they sent me to Boise, Idaho, and from Boise, Idaho to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin back to Memphis, and I cracked my elbow back in 1956, and that kind of did me in. I had all three ones, what you call the hammer, the hook, and the change, but they didn't have no. They didn't have no Tommy John type thing. Once you heard it back in those days, so I developed me a good knuckleball, and I was just going through some things here before you all called, and I've just found something I've been looking for a long time. I did 3 Super Bowls. I definitely did 2. I got them right here, but I think I did 3 Super Bowls and 4 World Series during my time of being in segueing out of that into singing.
Yeah, well, we're glad you segued, but in a way, you're basically the Jackie Robinson of country music. That's my segue. I mean, nowadays we have Darius Rucker and Jimmy Allen, a bunch of African-American country singers coming up now, but do you take a special pride in being the pioneer there?
Well, the difference of, people that want to interview me, one of them might say, well, Charley, how does it feel to be the Jackie Robinson of country music? Or, Charley, how does it feel to be the first colored country singer? Charley, how does it feel to be the first Negro country singer? Charley, how does it feel to be the first black country singer? How does it feel to be the first Afro-American country singer? I said, I feel the same way when I was colored. And that's the way I answer. And I said, well, which one you are? I said, that's 4 of them, isn't it? 5. I said, I'm a staunch American. I said, but I understand why you asked that. I said, but now the difference in Jackie Robinson and he was specifically picked to do what he did. I wasn't picked. See, my understanding is that Branch Rickey brought him in. He had that great season at Montreal. They brought him in, set him down, and hello, N-word, they called him that. And he looked at me and said, you want to know why I said that, didn't you? Now, this is what was given to me. He said, well, you're going to hear that a lot. You're going to be, this is Jackie Robinson, Branch Rickey talked to him, said, you're going to hear that a lot. Now, what are you going to do about it? He says, well, it was kind of a pause, and he said, well, what you going to do, you're going to take your baseball, you're going to take the bat and the glove, and you're going to win it that way. Because if you don't make it, the others are not going to make it. So that's what was given to me. So that's the difference. But nobody came and sat me down and said, hey, N-word, you're going to go in and be the country music. Now, here's what you got to do. I went into it by choice, you see. So that's the difference. But being in that position of being the first, and the other category of being there, but there was a different ball game the way I went into country music than him.
Absolutely.
And I want to point something out too, Jason. Is that do you have any idea how many black American players are in the major leagues today? You got a lot of Latinos from Dominican Republic.
I got you. You got you. Caribbean, yeah.
Yeah, but you got maybe a little better than 7%. Now this man went, like Branch Rickey told him, to go play, and he did all that, breaking the barriers and all that stuff. And I said to my grandson, he could have been just as good a baseball player as he was a basketball player. Here's what I said to him. I said, Carlton, I said, Tom Hicks gave Alex Rodriguez $252 million in baseball. I said, he said, no. He said, I want to play basketball and football. No, he said basketball. He said, the girls all follow basketball. I said, but you can attract a lot of girls with $252 million. But anyway, it's that kind of thing. And I feel kind of bad to see how much he gave, meaning Jackie Robinson and the amount of American blacks that's in the major leagues. To me, it's just stunning.
Yeah, that's a great point. It gravitates to other sports, like the story you just said. So yeah. Well, I have to. It's probably another question you've heard a billion times, but take me into your memories of when you first read Ben Peters' song "Kiss an Angel Good Morning" and memories of recording that.
Well, I didn't know how big. You're right. I didn't know how big it was going to be, but I just remember how much I loved it when I heard it. And but I had no idea it would do what it did. But I couldn't wait to get in the studio, Jason. And I'm glad that I went in there and did that.
Do you think the secret is the pause after you've got to, and then there's that little pause, and then you hit it? To me, does that make it, or what? What about the melody do you think works for it?
Well, I'm in the business of selling lyrics, feelings, and emotions. I try to sell all that in one package, and how I phrase it, and I try. That's what I try to sell, the whole package. You see,
yeah,
that's what you have to try to do. And so, for example, I only had that was the only million-selling single I ever had. But Jack Clement was my producer, and he said, Charlie, he said, these songs we're cutting right now, in 50 years they're gonna still be playing them. And I looked at him, and he says. He kind of right spot on, you know. And I go back now and listen to some songs that I didn't quite want to record, you know. But he did most of the picking of the song. But he would let me explain what I liked and didn't like. So that to me, I go back and say, oh, that was pretty good. I didn't think that was that good back then. I listen at my album, so you know I go back. I got 500 and some songs, and I go back and I say, hey, that wasn't too bad. And that's the way I'm living it out now, by going back and listening to what we did, and so I've got a new album now called Music in My Heart, and my fans. A lot of time they'll say, is he singing to the track? He sounds the same.
Same guy. Well, everyone go check out that new album. And then just to localize it, Streets of Baltimore, since we are a D.C. station, a lot of listeners are up in Baltimore too. I know there's been a ton of cover versions of this song, but I think yours might be my favorite. But memories of recording that one. And
well, you know, Bobby Bear is a real good friend of mine, and I was working on satellites. I lived in Montana, one month short of 10 years in Montana. My two youngest kids were born in Montana, and I was working the silos and I was with the missile sites up there, and he came, meaning Bobby Bear, and he had Detroit City, and I heard that he came in. They paid him $400 that night. I think he did 35 minutes. So and he said he'll be in Billings. That was in Great Falls. Billings the next night. I said, boy, that's $800. I said, ooh, if I could get that kind of money. But I was singing locally, you see, and working on the missile site. So I recorded Detroit City on my first album. My first, Jack Clement, my producer, he picked out that one and all the big hits, and that was my first. And I'll never will forget the number on RCA. It was 3645, and so that I recorded that, and Detroit City, and of course Bobby Barrett. He recorded the Streets of Baltimore too, and I recorded that. But I don't try to. I just pick what I like to record myself, and I cut a lot of things that of people that I admire. You know, I did a tribute album to Jim Reeves. I did a tribute album to Hank Williams. So, but I do my own phrasing, and as I say, I tell people the best I can explain my voice and my projection, and what I try to do is I sell lyrics, the feelings and emotions. I try to shove them all out there and let them do what I see they do to them all these years.
I think, what was it, Whoopi Goldberg on The View the other day was trying to endorse you as a Kennedy Center honor, and that would get you to D.C.
Yeah, I got a chance to see that. She's a big fan of mine. I want to tell you a little story. I didn't meet her out there, but I was there, and I'm going to explain that to you. Her and Andy Williams, Red Buttons, and James Corbett, the actor, and myself went out to the Milton Berle birthday bash out in California. And just as I was going to try to meet her, I was going to go over. I was going over to him, and I was going to try to meet her. She went and saw somebody else. She said hi to, and so I didn't even get the chance to see either one of them. Somebody else grabbed me, and. But to make a long story short, I received the Lifetime Pioneer Award in New York, and she made a big spiel about me there. And then next thing you know, I was on the show on the View, and so I was just there the other day. What you were just talking about, I saw what she said. She couldn't believe that I hadn't been the Kennedy Center honor. I hadn't been honored there. And she said, I don't believe this. So she said, she's going to work on this. So I saw that. And so she told me, too, that they want me back on the View, too, sometime early.
Awesome.
Soon, rather.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate it. You've been generous with your time, so we'll let you run. But my grandparents, seriously, you're their favorite. They've seen you a million times. Do you mind giving them a shout-out? Lewis and Nelda.
Well, I'd like to appreciate them being a fan, Lewis and Nelda. I hope someday you'll get a chance to see my show. We got probably a show even now better than we ever had. So that's not a brag. You heard the guy say, no brag, just fact. There's a Walter Brennan. There's no brag, just fact. So that's, if they ever come, they're going to see a real good show.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Charley Pride, everybody. Again, we'll keep up the Kennedy Center honors pressure for you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.